Hurricane Irma is lashing Cuba with strong winds and heavy rain after devastating several Caribbean islands. The hurricane made landfall on the Camagüey archipelago, in Cuba's northeast, as a Category 5 storm. But the Bahamas have largely been spared after Irma changed track. In Florida, 5.6 million people, or 25% of the U.S. state's population, have been told to leave as the storm approaches. At least 20 people are known to have died so far across the Caribbean. Irma hit the Sabana-Camagüey archipelago late on Friday, threatening nearby coastal towns and villages. It was the first Category 5 hurricane to hit Cuba in decades. It weakened to Category 4 by Saturday morning but is expected to strengthen again as it approaches Florida. At 12 o'clock GMT, Irma had maximum sustained winds of 209 km per hour, 130 miles per hour, the National Hurricane Center in the U.S. said. It has brought vast amounts of rainfall to parts of Cuba, with extensive flooding reported in the fishing village of Cape Arion. Power lines have been brought down in several parts of the central province of Camagüey, and communication is becoming increasingly difficult with towns in more remote areas, the BBC's Will Grant in Havana reports. Thousands of people have been evacuated but many others stayed to ride out the storm. Cuban officials reported significant damage, without giving further details, but said there were no confirmed casualties yet. AFP news agency reported earlier, people tried to secure roofs and move belongings from low-lying coastal areas to higher ground. There are really strong gusts of wind. It is pouring off and on, and the lights are out, Aneda Gonzalez, a retired nurse in the Camagüey province, told Reuters. About 50,000 tourists are fleeing or have fled Cuba, with resorts on the north coast now empty, the news agency reports. Irma is expected to hit Florida on Sunday, but the outer bands are already affecting the south of the state and downtown Miami is being lashed by heavy rain. About 25,000 people are currently without electricity, energy provider Florida Power and Light reported. Florida Governor Rick Scott issued a stark warning to those in threatened areas on the west coast. "Look, it's getting late," he told NBC. "If you're not on the road on the west coast by noon, 1600 hours GMT, you need to get to a shelter, get to a friend's house if you're in an evacuation zone. Get off the road." Brock Long, the head of the U.S. Federal Emergency Agency, warned that Irma would devastate either Florida or neighboring states. He said that parts of Florida would be without power for days. The entire southeastern United States better wake up and pay attention, he added. Another storm, Jose, further out in the Atlantic behind Irma, is now a Category 4 hurricane, with winds of up to 240 km per hour, 150 miles per hour. It is following a similar path to Irma and already hampering relief efforts in some of the worst affected areas. Residents of Barbuda, where 95% of buildings have been destroyed by Irma, have now left the island as Jose approaches. Hurricane Katia, in the Gulf of Mexico, a Category 1 storm with winds of up to 75 miles per hour, made landfall on the Mexican Gulf Coast in the state of Veracruz late on Friday. The storm is expected to weaken rapidly in the coming hours. Are you in the region? Are you a holidaymaker unable to get a flight home or a resident who has been preparing for Hurricane Irma? If it is safe for you to do so, share your experiences by emailing haveyorsay@bbc.co.uk. Please include a contact number if you are willing to speak to a BBC journalist. You can also contact us in the following ways.